Welcome everyone to this second Triangles webinar of the year. For those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, our spirits are no doubt being lifted as we move gradually into greater light as the days lengthen. Perhaps more significantly, though, we are conscious of preparing for the time when the divine vision encompassed in 3 spiritual festivals of Easter, Wesak, and of the Christ are being celebrated during the higher interlude of the spiritual year. But today we are also conscious of working in the energies of Aquarius, a sign which celebrates the waters of life and an age into which we are entering more fully with each passing year. And we are seeing the flourishing forces of group service and soul alignment clashing with the waning influences of the Piscean age. These conflicting forces continue to have their effects on the world stage and often mirror our own inner conflicts. The increasing Aquarian influences empower group service, and every triangle of light created and vitalized, therefore, strengthens the triangle's network. Each triangle is playing a part in heralding a reformation of the energy or etheric structure of our planet. And with this, the deep purpose of this simple service is slowly unfolding. And it's a privilege to play a small part in reforming the etheric architecture of the planet, enabling the energies of light and goodwill to flow more freely into human consciousness. So if anyone would like to expand their triangle service to form another, or wish to be part of a triangle for the first time, please do let us know via the chat box, leaving your name, and we'll follow up with you. And given the importance of this year 2025, when a hierarchical conclave is said to meet, as it does at the end of every quarter of a century, to plan for the future, it's good to dedicate ourselves to this service with renewed enthusiasm. Let's take a moment and say together the noontime recollection. We know, Lord of life and love, about the need. Touch our hearts anew with love, that we too may love and give. Given a beautiful description of the etheric or ether as that which makes all relationships possible. It therefore relates the individual to the planet, to the solar system, and to the universe. Every form participates as vast streams of energy constantly circulate throughout this universal energy field. And these streams of energy galvanize the physical plane into activity of some kind or another, according to the nature and power of whatever type of energy may be dominating the etheric body at any particular time. So whilst the universal ramifications of this vast energy field are beyond our understanding, humanity nonetheless has a profound role to play in transforming this planetary etheric into a lighted network of triangles circulating the pure energy of love. And over time, we can be assured that this triangular matrix will become more closely woven into the fabric of the physical world, meaning that humanity as a whole will become increasingly responsive to spiritual impressions. It's fair to say that the proliferation of communication technologies is one indication that the physical and etheric planes which underlie it are becoming more closely interrelated. For these technologies enable people to communicate with each other freely in real time and are probably the precursors to the roles that telepathy and the intuition will play as the consciousness of humanity unfolds. Simplicity in a spiritual sense and freedom from the complexities of the lower mind will one day become the norm when we move into an era where right values are developed. And when we look at the world today, the outer form is still largely unable to convey the beauty and purity of the Aquarian impulse. Physical, spiritual philosophy reminds us that all forms exist in order to express truth, and the projection of light and goodwill, when fused and blended with the triangle's network, are signs of transformative energies which are impressing minds with the visionary and noble ideas that are instrumental in shaping the new heaven and the new earth. The pattern of right relationships between that which lies above and that which is below is strengthening, signaling the formation of a bridge between the inner and outer worlds. And the discovery or acknowledgement of the existence of the etheric planes is needed both for medical science, as we'll hear from our speaker this evening, Dermot Carroll, but also for cosmology. Unfortunately, at the time of Einstein's work on relativity, he discarded the ether as a mechanism for transmitting energy. Later on, he regretted this decision, and it's this recognition which is essential, not only for understanding the science between our creative work with light, but to understand the science of relationships and the many anomalies which puzzle those astronomers who are finding inconsistencies in their theories as a result of findings revealed by that James Webb telescope. For instance, discovering galaxies that, according to conventional theory, are older than the universe itself. So clearly, new perspectives are needed in order to make a breakthrough into these subtler realms and herald a new era in the use of energy, magnetism, and radiation for the benefit of the whole. So talking about benefiting the whole, let's go into our reflection and visualization on the mantra of the gratification. Lincoln thought as a soul, as a point of love and light with all those around the world who are part of the triangle's service work. Visualize the world situation as best you can and see people everywhere glowing with a dim light and, here and there, points of brighter light where men and women of spiritual intention and of loving hearts are working for their fellow human beings. Through the creative imagination, visualize the vivid light of the spiritual kingdom streaming towards humanity and slowly merging with the light which is already in humanity. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into human minds. Let light descend on earth. Ponder upon the reappearance of the coming world teacher. Realize that no matter by what name he may be called in the many world religions, he is still the same great identity. Reflect and speculate upon the possible results of his appearance. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into human hearts. May the coming one return to earth. Endeavor to concentrate your fixed intention to serve and to spread love in your surroundings, and realize that insofar as you can do these things, you are attempting to blend your personal will with the divine will. from the center, where the will of God is known. Let purpose guide all little human wills, the purpose which the masters know and serve. Psalm the Om, dedicating the threefold personality to the working out of the divine plan. Thank you, everyone. I'd like to ask our speaker, Dermot Carroll, to share some thoughts with us on the etheric, personal, and planetary healing. Dermot is a pranic healer and a student of the Ageless Wisdom teachings living in Ireland. So, Dermot, we look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you, Chris. And thanks for inviting me. Hello, everybody. Good evening. So the triangles work is a very beautiful form of sacred service. We are drawn to it by its beauty, its apparent simplicity, and because it meets so many of the needs of those who long to serve. It is a group project which allows us to share our aspirations and pool our energetic resources to meet the challenges facing humanity. It is a form of meditation and so answers our deep need for silence and contemplation. It aims to transform the pathways of life, and the quest for transformation is the deep motivation which arouses the members of the new group of world service to action. The triangle's work is esoteric. Most of us can only comprehend it in a very limited way, for we are connecting with realms beyond our grasp and working with substances we do not understand, and yet we are drawn to the work. Faith is described in the Bible as the evidence of things not seen. Triangle's work is an act of faith. We have amassed enough evidence in our hearts and minds to know its value, but we cannot describe the materials we are working with. When we read in the Triangle's handbook that the Triangle's worker uses soul-infused mental energy to weave and to build a network of lighted triangles within the etheric body of the planet, we have a sense of what this means in our imagination, but no idea what it is like in truth. My experience as a practitioner of energy medicine has really helped me with conceptualizing Triangle's work. For many years now, as a pranic healer, I have been working with the etheric body of clients, cleansing and energizing the major chakras without ever being able to see them. In pranic healing, the healer uses a technique called scanning, where the minor chakra in the palm of their hand is used to sense the energy of the patient's chakra. And over many hours of practice, the sensitivity to energy is built in the hand, and eventually the healer is able to recognize different types of pranic energy. There are three core techniques in pranic healing. There is cleansing, where the healer removes used up prana, diseased energy, and negative energy from the chakras. There is the technique of energizing, where the practitioner replenishes depleted chakras with prana. And there is scanning, where the healer uses their etheric hand to sense the energy of the client's chakras and aura. Once scanning is mastered, the healer's brain is able to register the quality of energy being felt in the hand and then make a determination on whether the area needs to be cleansed or energized. An entire session of pranic healing from beginning to end involves no touching of the physical body. And so even though scanning is a very simple skill, it is also a difficult skill to master, because in order to become proficient, you need to overcome the strenuous objections of the lower concrete mind. In my case, these objections would have won out long ago had I not experienced many extraordinary and seemingly miraculous results. My journey into the study of prana began 20 years ago, when my dentist, after examining x-rays, presented me with two bad options. I had a recurring infection in my gum brought about by impaction from a wisdom tooth. The tooth was rooted in the nerves running through my lower jaw. I could either have it removed and risk lose the feeling in my mouth, or else take antibiotics every time the infection flared up. I found both options impossible to imagine and was determined to find a third way. Shortly after this, a friend introduced me to a pranic healer who had a healing clinic in Limerick City, where I was living at the time, and I began attending for regular sessions. This was the third way I had been seeking. Up to then, I had no idea of the existence of an etheric body or of the determining role it plays in our lives. My persistent tooth problem was arising because of congestion in my throat chakra and in my jaw minor chakra. Once these chakras were normalized, the infection stopped and never recurred. And that was 20 years ago. There were other benefits from these sessions too. My energy levels, mental health, and overall sense of well-being improved, and the spiritual connection that I had forsaken had began to return. The experience was inspiring because it offered me a window into a world I always sensed was there, but was unable to reach. I decided that I wanted to share this new consciousness with as many people as I could. So I trained as a pranic healer, started a clinic, and eventually found my way to the ageless wisdom teachings and the triangles work that brings us all together here this evening. One of the benefits of the emerging world of energy medicine is that it is helping people to become conscious of their spiritual reality. The late energy master, Choa Koksui, who developed pranic healing, said that aside from the acts of healing, which were obviously very helpful to people suffering with ailments, its real impact would be to introduce people to the energy body. And from there, they could begin to develop a spiritual connection. I have seen this myself many times, where clients will have their physical and psychological ailments addressed by pranic healing and struggle to comprehend how it could have happened. Some people go away bewildered and try to fit this new experience into a framework that is more acceptable to them. Mind, body, or psychosomatic are terms the concrete mind uses to explain away medical anomalies like those arising from energy healing. Other people accept the theory of the energy body and begin a new journey of exploration. For these, the world will never be the same again, as the surreal gradually becomes the real, in line with their expanding consciousness. For the others, the more cautious and skeptical, a seed has been set, and even if it isn't fully planted yet, it is there awaiting the right conditions to germinate. One form of energy medicine that is particularly challenging to the concrete mind is the phenomenon of distant healing, where the healer and client can be in different locations, maybe separated by thousands of kilometers, yet a successful healing can transpire. Most energy medicine systems have some sort of distant healing technique. In pranic healing, the practitioner goes through the same protocol as if the client were with them. The only difference is that instead of touching the etheric body directly, They are connecting with it through energetic cords, linked in some way with the etheric body of the planet. These sessions are mostly just as effective as in-person healing. Asthma, anxiety, depression, migraines, infections, back pain are just some of the conditions that I have seen either entirely or substantially reduced through distant healing. We are practicing distant healing in our triangles work too. But instead of working with a single individual, we are using light to heal at a planetary scale. Working as a group, using the power of visualization and the great invocation, our efforts are bringing about planetary healing. Every triangle, imaginatively linked with the planetary network of light surrounding the Earth, plays a part in this healing through the soul light, which is invoked and directed through it into human consciousness. Distant healing is a difficult concept for people to accept, but as more scientists overcome the constraints of the lower concrete mind, the phenomenon will be made clearer for humanity. Currently, pranic healers are reliant on scanning to discover issues in the energy body. But our minds and our emotions can influence our reading. Much as we try to minimize this, it happens. We work around this limitation in pranic healing by always invoking first to the great beings for their help, guidance, and protection. The beneficial effects of invocation were studied by Master Choa and his clairvoyant associates when they were developing pranic healing. It is the fail-safe that prevents us from doing harm. Energy medicine would be really helped if we could independently verify the results of scanning. If, for example, an image of the aura could be examined before and after a healing session, or if we had real-time image on a monitor to register changes in the aura as they occur. Carillion photography was the start of this years ago, but it was never developed. Perhaps one day some courageous scientists will be free enough in their mind and have the resources to take on this challenge. There is tremendous scope for integration between energy medicine and modern medicine. For now, at least, even though we work with light, we are mostly in the dark. Yet we each have our own body of evidence which encourage us to continue. For some, the evidence is tangible, a miraculous healing or an illuminating synchronicity. Mostly, though, the evidence is personal, a subtle internal shift that forces us to readjust our orientation. Each of us that participates in Triangle's work has experienced some form of this. We know the importance of the work, and we hope that one day we will be able to articulate it or define it more clearly. But whether that time is years, decades, or centuries from now, we carry on in faith. For faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Dermot. That was so interesting, and how we use the etheric in so many different ways. In fact, everything, energy, can only be transmitted this way. And it was so interesting to hear more about pranic healing as such. I've always heard about it and got little bits and pieces, but that was a very clear exposition. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Well,
Chris.
we're going to ask.
It's
We're going
nice
to
to
ask
be able
people.
to share it here.
Sorry, no?
It's nice to be able to share some of that information. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So we'll just ask people now if they'd like to either raise their hands and share some thoughts, or perhaps ask a question, or perhaps they want to add things and have already done so in the chat box, which I haven't looked at yet. So while they're doing that, Dermot, I just wanted to add that it's been interesting to notice over the years how the service offered by the late Master Choa, who I believe was a reader of the Tibetan's books, has brought about the introduction of so many students from other parts of the world, such as Dubai and India, to the Bailey teachings. I don't know how that's not a researched observation. It's just over the years noticing people coming in and being in pranic healing and then looking at the Bailey books as well.
Yeah, Master Cho had started reading the Bailey books when he was very young, as I understand that he was a teenager, and he studied them, and a lot of the techniques that he began to experiment with would have come from them. And the teachings, the Tibetan's teachings are very much emphasized within the various pranic healing schools.
Right. Excellent. Right, let's see if we have anybody.
Hi, Chris. We do have some hands raised.
Sorry, I'm having trouble getting. Yep.
Would you like to go to the... Okay.
Hello. Santana, would you like to share your thoughts?
Oh, hi. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, very well. Thank you.
Oh, good. Because your chat is disabled on my end, I'm just letting you know. But I thank you very much, Dermot. And as someone who studied, I'm someone who studied and worked with esoteric healing many years ago, and I still work with it when necessary or needed. But it's very interesting, the similarity between the pranic healing and the esoteric healing, because of course, with the esoteric healing, we link up with the soul. We link up with the soul of the patient and with the source, and then bring the energy down to the heart and the hands. And we also balance the chakras by having our hands either side of the patient. And then also we balance the head and the crown and the throat and the sacral and the heart and the solar plexus. So we are feeling, it's like tuning a guitar when you feel this energy. So that system also is very similar, yet a little bit different. And again, also the esoteric healing has been used to amazing effect absently. So I was going to put it in the chat, but I decided to just share it with you. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Santana.
Thank you, Santana. Yeah, I have seen Alan Hopkins' work on esoteric healing, which was also drawn from the Tibetan's teachings, I believe.
Yeah, Alan was who I worked with, but I'm probably muted again.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else have got questions or
There's
somebody asked, Owen is asking, is it possible to be in two different triangles groups? Yes, certainly. We encourage it if you are happy to do that. You can just practice one and then the other, link them together, and then link them with the Planetary Network. So we'll be in touch with you if you want to. If you have triangles partners, please register them with triangles and let us know. So I'm just trying to read these questions. John Horan, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, thank you, Christine. Lovely talk, Dermot.
Thanks, John.
Often when I think of healing, of course, I go to the individual human body. And I was wondering what thoughts or techniques you might have, or how you might adapt that on a planetary, society, civilizational standpoint. For example, if instead of thinking, I need to heal this physical body, I need to heal this society, civilization, or planet, I was wondering how you might go about that.
So I guess it's something that's really we work with a lot in the Lucis Trust. But I was first really introduced to that idea through actually, again, pranic healing. There's a meditation called Meditation on Twin Hearts, which we do where you focus on your heart and your crown and use the prayer of Saint Francis of Assisi and you imagine the earth in front of you and you send blessings to the earth. And this also has the effect of cleansing your energy body and also activating over time your heart and your crown. And it was funny because when I first got on the pranic healing path, it was really for myself, absolutely 100% entirely. And I didn't really understand anything about service or anything like that at all. But I just did whatever I was told because I needed healing myself anyway. So it was suggested that I practice the meditation on Twin Hearts regularly, and I did for many years. And then suddenly, as time emerged, I became less interested in my own healing and more interested in the healing of others. And I think, I came across the Lucis Trust maybe about 15 years after I first encountered pranic healing. And by that time, I think I was ready for the idea of service much more than I had been when I was younger. I don't know if that answers the question, John.
John, does that answer your question?
Yes, I was just thinking of what Dermot had said in the beginning of his talk about the three phases, we'll call it, scanning, cleansing, and energizing. And just kind of trying to formulate in my mind how that might apply to, say, the 5 known chakras of the earth that we have: New York, London, Geneva, Darjeeling, Tokyo. But thank you.
Yeah, it's so interesting working with prana. Like, Chris, you had mentioned it, when we were talking during the week about, prana, what it is, and like initially, there was, for me, there was just a physical body, and then there's an etheric body, and that's made of prana. And then as you study the teachings more, you realize, well, that everything is prana. Yeah. I think you become more, prana. The more we study, the more we do techniques like the triangles techniques, the less other a thing prana is. It becomes part of everything is prana. We live in prana and we live in energy. And so, certainly through pranic healing, I've learned that, actually you can cleanse places, you can cleanse houses, you can, you work with animals. It's a very, I would work with pets a lot and stuff like that. So prana becomes much more integrated. And I think in the future, probably we won't talk so much about physical and etheric. We will tend to think of them as different grades of prana.
So, Dermot, basically, somebody's asked, does pranic healing use the third aspect of divinity alone, or is the second aspect, the soul energy, included in the practice? Well, you've answered that really, but I was just wondering, do most pranic healers work with soul energy, do you think? Or are they more focused on just imagining and feeling different pranic energies being directed to their patients and not specifically via the soul?
I think it really depends on where a person is at
Yeah.
in their spiritual journey. The books of pranic healing will give a lot of warnings about, how to use prana, the dangers of using certain colors and not using certain colors on certain chakras. But those warnings, to a degree, are overridden by if a person has a spiritual connection. If they do the invocation at the beginning, it's not, they can't act, of course, without following the techniques. I suppose what I'm trying to say is that certain people tend to work more with the soul energy, and other pranic healers tend to work directly with using the prana, the lower energies. So you will find that some pranic healers get real benefit, get real quick results with the physical body. They may help with wounds or broken bones and heal them very quickly. Whereas others won't have that much success with the physical body, but they'll be able to help with transformational change at a psychological and a spiritual level. So there's different grades, I think.
Okay, thank you. Mandy Paul, would you like to say something now?
Yes. Good evening, everybody. I'm just really curious. While you was talking, Dermot, I went into like a trance-like state when you were speaking. I'm not sure. I'm sensing possibly that you could be a Buddhist monk because of your energy. And I felt like mine was matching yours. And what I was also sensing, I felt that you have I'm not sure, but do you actually teach pranic healing? And is it easy accessible to use?
I'm not a teacher, Mandy. Thank you, Mandy, for those comments. I'm not a teacher, but there are many teachers now in the UK and Ireland and Europe. It's very simple to learn the techniques of pranic healing. You can learn them in a weekend, the basic techniques. But the real challenge that people find is overcoming the lower concrete mind and continuing to do the practices, because when you learn to scan energy, you'll feel it, and you'll feel it if you do the course. You'll feel the energy, but 3 days later you won't be able to feel it. So you just have to keep going, following the protocols in the book and following the teachings. I was very lucky. My two sisters followed me into pranic healing and remained pranic healers. And I don't think if they hadn't have done, I don't know if I would have continued, because it's quite difficult to overcome the lower concrete mind.
Okay, it was really interesting. Your voice is so melodic, it would make a fantastic CD, because I just went into an altered state of consciousness pretty quickly.
Thank you.
It's just Irish magic, Dermot.
The Irish accent.
I don't know. It was just. I mean, I do follow Buddhism myself, and I'm a Buddhist mantra practitioner. But it was interesting how I just literally went into that altered state pretty quickly with your voice.
It was Buddhism that led me really initially. I did do Buddhist practices initially before I found pranic healing. So I'm sure there's some link somewhere between us and those teachings.
Yeah, it would just lovely. I'm just looking forward to maybe making a CD, which would be fabulous.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mandy.
Thank you.
I think we should perhaps draw a halt now because we've still got our Triangles webinar meditation to close off this evening. With sincere thanks to you, Dermot, and to every one of you who've been participating. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, everybody.
So, energizing the planetary network of triangles. We come together as a group unity on the mental plane. Identify as a soul with the world group functioning through 3 planetary centers, London, Geneva, and New York, as a triangle of light. Extend identification through the soul to the new group of world service, to the hierarchy, and to the Christ, the transcendent point of synthesis at the center of every triangle, and to the triangle of energies standing behind the Christ. Identify the center Shambhala, the center of purpose and power. Recognize the synthesis, 3 streams of cosmic energy within Shambhala, where the will of God is known. Using the dedication in the center of the will of God I stand, nor shall deflect my will from his. I implement that will by love. I turn towards the field of service. I, the triangle divine, work out that will within the square and serve my fellow men. Visualize a network of lighted triangles underlying the entire outer world of physical life and events. See the network, linking all triangle units and relating all points of light throughout the world. Relating the world of spiritual realities, the hierarchy, to the world of experience, humanity, and acting as a channel of distribution within humanity for the spiritual energies pouring through the hierarchy. Transforming the planetary etheric vehicle to receive and circulate the energies of the soul and the triad, will, love, light. Realize that the energies of light, love, and the will to good, evoked by all triangles workers, pulsating through the planetary network of triangles, are having an inevitable effect within the three worlds, mental, emotional, and etheric, of human evolution, lifting human consciousness and helping to create the path of light for the feet of the Christ. Reflect on the purpose, function, and right development of the triangles network as a hierarchical activity. blended with the group, stand with positive intent as a station of radiant light within the network of light and goodwill. As we sound the adapted gratification, directing the triple energies through the triangle's network and throughout the consciousness of humanity. We sound the Om 3 times at the end, silently or out aloud. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into human minds. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into human hearts. May the coming one return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide all little human wills, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center, which we call the human race, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Thank you, everyone. Just a reminder that the next Triangles webinar will be also on the Monday, the 10th in March, this is. But although the time will be the same for New York students and Triangles co-workers, the time for the UK, because of the daylight saving moving from, well, for the States, they're going to be in summertime, but the UK is still in GMT, the winter cycle. So we will be starting at 4 p.m. just on March the 10th, on Monday, the March 10th, at the next Triangles webinar. And I presume that's the same for the European co-workers as well. So thank you again to our speaker and to all of you. Until we meet again next month, goodbye.